What's up everyone? Hope you're doing well today. My name is Qasim and today I want to walk you guys through the Philips Hue app step by step. Now, before we actually start, check in the description down below so that way you guys can jump to a particular setup instruction that you're looking for. I've reviewed a lot of their products, and since they did this update, I had to do a video so that you guys can watch those previous videos, but if you need to find newer instructions, you can refer to this video. Now, the app that I'm going to be talking about is the one for iPhone. It's the same for iPhone and Android, but I just want to throw that out there. So first and foremost, you guys need to open up the Philips Hue app. Now, right when you open the app up, you're going to see a bunch of rooms. I've got them because I've got things set up with Philips Hue. So I've had a bunch of their products. That's why it's like this. If you are somebody who's just getting started, who's about to set up a brand new product, you're not going to see any rooms here. But you don't need to worry. I'm going to guide you through all of that. So first and foremost, right here at the top, you see these three little dots. Now, if you tap on this, it brings up a little menu. It lets you add lights. It lets you add a new room or zone, or you can sort your current room and zones. Now, first, let's talk about rooms and zones. So when you go to add a new room or zone, it's going to show you whether you want to add a room or if you want to add a zone. Now, room is something like this one here. So this is set up as office. And so we've got a light strip, we've got Hue play bars, we've got the two light bars right over here. So these are all set up in the office. Now, also on this level, we have the basement living room. So we have a bunch of ceiling lights, a TV light strip, etc. So these are individual rooms. But a zone is when we combine, since both of these rooms are on one floor, downstairs, we could combine them into a zone and just call it downstairs. So that way, in the future, if you want to be like, hey, turn off all the lights downstairs to your assistant, then it'll be able to do that. So that's how a room and a zone differ. So if you're setting up a room, that's what you usually want to start with. So you'll start with a room and you can choose a bunch of preset options here. So they've got things like living room, kitchen, dining. They've got a bunch of practical things like a toilet, hallway. So they've got a bunch of options that you can choose from within the app, or you can just create a custom room. Now, for the sake of demonstration, let's just choose living room. Now, what's cool is that here where you see name, this is where you'll be able to give your room any kind of name you want. It doesn't have to be called living room. You could say my room, anything, doesn't matter. So we're just going to leave it as test, and then we're going to hit done. And then now it'll give you the choice to pick lights. So you can choose lights from other rooms that already exist, or if you're, starting from scratch, then you can just press on the plus icon and add a new light. And what this is going to do is run you through that traditional search and find lights that haven't been set up, which you can incorporate into this room. Now that is how you go about choosing a room for your setup. But let's set up a zone. So now let's set up downstairs. So like I mentioned, we have the office and basement living room in our downstairs area. So let's go ahead and name this downstairs, the default. And what we're going to do is right from this list, I'm going to select office and basement living room and hit done. So now if we come back into our rooms and zones list, if we scroll down to the bottom, we're going to find this new zone that we just created. So downstairs. So by tapping into it, you can look at all the lights, what they're doing, whether they're on, whether they're off, and you can adjust them here. Now we're going to leave this as is for now because I'm going to show you how to get into rooms and adjust everything in a little bit. So now what I recommend is when you're starting, just add first all your lights. So let's say you've got 3 lights that you want to put into your room. Add those lights in by hitting these 3 dots, adding the lights one by one. Then you can go into adding a room. And then Once you add multiple rooms in the future, or if at the time that you're purchasing all your lights, then you can create a zone to kind of separate downstairs, your middle floor, study area, etc. However you think you want to be grouping things. So that's what I recommend you guys do. And if you need any help setting up your lights on all my Philips Hue videos, I have done my best to help everybody that comments down below. So if anything at any time during this video you have a question about, drop it down below and I'll get back to you guys as soon as possible. Okay, so now let's imagine that you've got a bunch of rooms set up kind of like I do. I've got kitchen, family room, dining room. You can see I've got a bunch of rooms. So here at the very top, next to those three dots, you have an on-off button. Now, I'm not going to turn this off because we've got lights in the other room on at the moment, but if you toggle this button, this is a quick way to turn off all the lights in the house. So for example, let's say you were stepping out of the house, going to groceries or going to a party, anywhere. All you've got to do is simply turn it off and it's going to kick all your Philips Hue lights off right away. Now, in your list of rooms, let's get into the rooms and adjusting lights, creating themes, etc. So for the sake of demonstration, let's jump into this office. So here in this office, when you tap into a room, right here at the very top, you have an on-off toggle switch, and then you've got those same three dots, which you can tap on, and it's going to let you add lights, edit the room name, delete the room, etc. Adding lights, same thing as traditional, as before, as discussed. Now, under my scenes, so you've got a bunch of preset scenes over here. So you'll see I have one set to filming. So that when I go to record these videos, all these lights that you're seeing here that are illuminated, this is all done by just simply toggling on that scene. Now here you've got a bunch of presets, but you can tap on this plus icon, and now when you go here, you'll get an option to do create a custom scene or use a photo. Now for the photo option, guys, what's going to happen is if you pick like a gradient wallpaper, what it's going to do is it's going to analyze that image for colors that are going on, and it's going to reflect those into the scene. And then you can still play around with them if you want. But we're going to create a custom scene. Now, if we tap on create a custom scene, right at the beginning, you're going to have a name option. So let's write test, and then we'll hit done. So now it says test, and then it shows scene brightness. So right in this scene brightness, you're going to be able to adjust like how bright you want the lights to be. Now you can also toggle between these lights, which ones you want off, which ones you want which color. So if you tap on an individual light, you can adjust its color by simply dragging it through the color wheel. Or if you're looking for a warmer tone like yellow or white option, then you can tap on that and set it to that color. Now, to the right here, you'll see this little sun with the rays coming out of it. This is the brightness. So when you're adjusting a particular light, you can choose its brightness. So you could raise it, you could lower it. So you're seeing that on the screen now. So you can adjust each individual's light's brightness, color, all of that stuff before you go to save the scene. So we're just going to X out of here and just save this as a test scene. All right, so now in your scenes gallery, you have that test theme right there. So anytime you tap on this or any of your other scenes, it's just going to switch to that scene. Now you'll see next to the scene, there's a pencil icon. This is if you want to edit it. So you can go back in, tweak the settings one by one of every light, the brightness, etc., like we discussed, and get it to whatever you want it to do. Now, Hue also has a Hue scene gallery. So if we tap on this, these are a bunch of different preset themes that Philips Hue offers. So you might be somebody that just might be okay with these themes. I like a lot of these themes. I have them in my room, so check and just go through them. You might find something that you like. So let's X out of here. Now I'm going to show you how to control the different lights within a room. So we're in the office. So let's tap on Studio 2. So when you tap on a light, right here at the bottom, you'll see you can make a selection of any other light in the room. And as you select these lights, it's also reflecting which light it is in that color wheel up top. So let's select Studio 2 so we can change it to a different color simply by moving it along the color wheel. Now, what if we want the standard colors? The wheel that's right next to the color wheel, if you tap on that circle, then you're going to have the option between a warm white and a cool white. And you can just kind of dial it to whatever you think is going to be best. Now, all the way to the right, like I showed earlier, we have the brightness. So you can literally go through each room's lights and turn them on and off, adjust their brightness, change their color, and whatnot. So let's X out of here, and it'll take us right back. And let's set our theme again. Alright guys, so that is how you're going to be able to adjust different scenes, select them, adjust your lights, their brightness, etc. I actually like this a lot more than what was happening previously. Like when you went into a room before, it showed you a bunch of tabs at the top that you could toggle between choosing the lights, choosing the colors, the scenes, etc. And I just like having everything here. You've got your scenes up top, you've got your lights, and it's very simple, and I think they've made it a lot better with this update. Alright guys, next let's move on to automation. So that is the second tab here, and you're going to see that I don't have any setup. The reason this is because I use Google Home. Philips Hue links with Google Home, and so all my lights are inside there. I've got a bunch of different routines set up. So if you have any questions about setting up like that, let me know down below. I'll be happy to answer them. But if you're somebody that wants to just use the Philips Hue app, then right here is where you're going to want to do it. So let's tap on Create Automation. Now you'll have a bunch of options. So let's start with this top one, wake up with light and go to sleep, because these are very similar. So let's say we go into wake up with light. Now what this is going to do is 30 minutes before the chosen time, it's going to start waking up the lights so that essentially you can wake up with the lights. I personally really like this one, and I used it before I started using good morning routines with Google Home. So right up at the top, you're going to choose the time that you want it to turn on. So let's say here in the office, right? Let's say your first meeting or your work starts at 8 a.m. in the morning. Well, you could have these lights set to turn on at 8 a.m. so that by the time you get to the office, they'll be on. Or if you want to use this in a room to help you get up in the morning or have the lights turn on as you wake up, it's going to be perfect to do so. So at the top, you choose your time. Down here, you're just going to tap and select the days that you want. And then you can toggle repeat on and off, so that way it can repeat week in and week out. So then let's tap on next. So now you're going to have an option to choose. So you can either choose a specific room. So let's choose this office. Now next to office, you see that little arrow? So if you tap on this, then this lets you actually go into that room and choose individual lights. So this is good. Like let's say I don't want the light strip or the play bars to turn on, or those play bars to turn on, then I can do that right here. But I'm just going to have the entire room. We're going to hit done. And so now this wake up routine automation has been set up. So now 8 a.m. on weekdays, this area is going to wake up gradually between 7:30 to 8, and by 8 o'clock, it'll be all awoke and ready to go. So now that we've set up one automation, you'll see we've got a list now. So instead of it just showing us different options, we've actually got a list. So here, if you have multiple automations, this toggle button, you can tap on this and turn off that automation or turn it on. For example, let's say you're going on vacation, you're not going to need that wake up automation for a week, so you can just turn it off, and then when you return, you can turn it back on. Okay, so now let's add another automation by tapping on this plus icon in the top right. Let's go to sleep. So this is exactly the opposite of the wake up automation. So what's going to happen here is that Hue is going to start dimming your lights at a specific time. So let's say at 11 p.m. you set this to start dimming, then by 11:15 p.m. your lights are going to be totally turned off. This is cool if you want to fall asleep gradually and just have your lights turn off slowly at a certain time. So you can pick a time. Again, you can pick it to repeat. And again, you can also pick the days that you like. So let's hit next, and then we'll select office once again, and then we'll hit done. So now you'll see we have multiple automations and we can toggle them on and off like I mentioned before. All right, so let's move on to our next automation and tap this plus icon, and let's do coming home. Now this one is actually pretty cool. So as you come home or go away from home, then this is going to trigger your lights accordingly. So in coming home, what's going to happen is that you can choose for Hue to remember this device. So this iPhone, it'll keep a track of its location. So as it's approaching the house, what's going to happen is you can choose certain rooms and certain lights to be turned on. So let's go ahead and add this device. Let's say 12 mini, and then next, and you'll choose your home location, save this location. All right, so now we can choose between when do we want them to turn on. So I'm going to select always, but you can also choose at night if that's when you want them to turn on. So let's go into always, and again we're given the list, so we can choose our specific rooms. So this is great, like you could have the kitchen. So for example, when you enter your house, if you have the kitchen as the main room that you are closest to, or the hallway, you can select one of those and just have them turn on as you approach your home. So just for the sake of selecting, we're going to choose the office, and then we're going to hit done. And so now this automation has been saved. When Philips Hue detects this iPhone is approaching the home location, then it's going to turn on the office lights. So this is a neat one. And if we go back into adding an automation, guys, leaving home is the exact same thing. So leaving home is going to do the exact opposite. So you can have lights turn off when your device is detected to be leaving the house location. All right, so the last automation that we need to talk about is a custom one. Now this is cool because you can kind of choose everything that you want the lights to do. So let's first start with the start at time. So this is going to be a specified time when your automation is going to start. So you can choose things at a specific time, sunrise or sunset. So let's say at a specific time. And let's say we choose 10 a.m. Now, if you look down here where it says fade duration, this is whether you want the lights to instantly turn on at 10 a.m. or if you want them to slowly fade on. So if you go through this slider, so fade on for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and so on. So if you choose 10 minutes, then lights are going to be totally on at 10:10 a.m. So you can leave this instant or you can customize it. So let's hit done. Now end at. So when do you want this custom routine to end? You can choose an end time or you can leave it blank. For example, this is great. Like if at 10 a.m. you want your kitchen and living room to be on, and then after that you're just going to handle when you want to turn it off, then you don't need to specify an end time. Again, you have the option to have it repeat, select your days, and then extra options, randomize times. So this is up to you if you want to do this, but I don't personally use this because it's going to just randomize with the specified time as to when it wants to start this custom routine. I don't personally use this, so I'm going to leave it blank. We're going to tap on next. So for this one, let's just select kitchen. Then we hit next. Now, if we tap on kitchen, then we can go in and select a specific theme that we want. So my scenes, we can choose from my scenes, or we can just have the kitchen set to a bright light. That's all. So we're going to hit done, go next, and then we can name our automation. So let's just say we say wake up, hit done. And now our wake up automation has been set, so that way every time at 10 a.m. in the morning, the kitchen lights are going to turn on to the bright setting. So that is how you play around with automations if you're using the Philips Hue app. Like I said, if you guys need help with setting it up with Google Home or Amazon's Alexa, let me know down below and I'll help you out. Alright guys, so next let's go into the Explore tab. Now this one I'm going to keep brief simply because this is more of like a news tab. So for example, if you go into what's new, it's going to tell you that the app has been updated. So a bunch of things have changed with the app, things like that. If you go into Shop Hue, that is what it sounds like. You can shop for Hue products. Works with Hue will show you a bunch of different products and things like Google Home and whatnot that actually work with Hue. So you can scroll through here and find things that work with Philips Hue. Apps we like is just apps that Philips Hue thinks are useful to tie with Philips Hue. So you can check those out in here. And also Hue Entertainment. So they've got a bunch of things in here related to the Hue Sync box, light strips, things like that. So this tab is cool if you want to find out new things, but I personally don't ever find myself in this tab. Now I want to move on to the Settings tab. Now right here in the Settings app, right up top, you have your Hue bridge. So if you're setting up a Philips Hue bridge for the first time, it's very self-explanatory, very simple. You're going to do that by tapping the plus icon. It's going to search for your Hue bridge and tie it into your home. You guys can see that I already have mine active. So if you need help with that, reach me down below. Now on this bridge, so this will show you all the lights. So right here, you can see all the lights that are tied to this bridge. You can also tap on the plus icon to add a light if you would like, but we're gonna X that out and go back. Now accessories, here's where you'll find things like your dimmer switch, motion sensors. So if you're using any Philips Hue accessories, those are going to be found here. Like I've got a garage sensor, I've got my room motion sensor and a dimmer switch. So these are all right in here. So I can tap on them, change things about them, like the times. For this motion sensor, you can see my video that I did on this. So I have a full guide and setup and whatnot for the Philips Hue motion sensor. Now right here at the top where it says add accessory, this is going to be how you're going to add accessories. So just like we talked about adding lights, this is where you're going to go to add any of Philips Hue accessories. And again, the process is very simple. You're going to just select the accessory you have, and then it's going to take you step by step in looking for it and setting it up. It's very simple. And like I said, if you need help, reach me down below. Alright guys, so next let's talk about entertainment areas, because this is something that's changed from the previous Hue app. So tap into entertainment areas. Now you'll see I have one, but we're gonna create a new one by tapping the plus icon in the top right. So we're gonna work with this area right here. So let's name this gaming and hit done. So now again, we'll be able to choose our lights. So for this, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna leave these two lights here on the side alone, and I'm only going to select the two play bars that are behind here and the office desk strip. So you'll notice that as you select the certain lights, they flash. So this lets you know that you're selecting a particular light. I really like this, so they're making sure you know which light is which. Okay, so now that we've selected these three lights, let's tap next. So now we're gonna position the lights. This is actually what's changed a little bit, so I'll show you guys what's going on in here. So now let's start with the Hue Play Left. So the one that's behind our monitor. So on this area right here, you can literally move this. So the screen that you're seeing in that little graphic, that's going to be basically this monitor right here. And then this light is going to just go right about here. Now notice the two tabs up top, location and height. So let's go to height now. And for the height, we're going to select it as right here and maybe move the location a little bit over. So that to me seems like it's good because we have our light right here to the left of, in this case, it's a monitor, but in the graphics case, it's a TV. So now let's move on to the next light. Again, it's going to flash, and let's set a location, and let's go into height. And for the height, again, middle height, and that's good. Now for the right bar, let's select a location and then height. So let's get the same as the other bar. So basically these two are going to be a little bit lower. Okay, so that looks about right. So now if we look at this graphic, you'll be able to see that we have the light strip, which is in the middle, and then we have the play bars in the bottom. So that's how I've got it set up, so you can just play around with this and get it as accurate as possible. Spend time on this because it's going to matter when you're actually syncing content. So let's hit done, and now we're all set. So let's hit done, and now we've created an entertainment area. So now if we go into the Hue desktop app and we play a video game or we watch content on this screen right here, the lights are going to sync accordingly. Alright guys, next let's talk about the voice assistant. So if we go into this menu here, you're going to see you've got Siri and HomeKit, you've got Amazon, and you've got Google Assistant, which is what I'm using. Now this is very easy guys. It literally guides you step by step for each assistant. So whichever one you're using in your home, you'll be able to set it up very easily. So that's why I'm not going to go over this, but if you do need help with this particular setup, reach out to me down below and I got you. So let's go back and let's talk about first shortcuts, because we actually need to set up shortcuts in order to set up widgets. So let's go into shortcuts, and these are really cool. Like if you've got an iPhone, you can have a shortcut set up right on the home screen, which you can tap and run a scene, turn something on and off. So let's get into it. Alright guys, so let's tap on create shortcuts. Now what this is going to do is bring you into the shortcuts app. Now right here you'll see that I have a scene set for filming. So every time I come here to record a YouTube video, I just tap on this and it sets the lights in this room to what you're seeing right now. So let's go ahead and create a shortcut. In the top right where you see the plus icon, just tap on that. Now here in the shortcut name field, we're just going to put test. You of course can name this shortcut to whatever you want. Now let's go ahead and add an action. Now when you go to add an action, you see these two tabs up top, categories and apps. Go into apps, scroll down and find Hue. And so now it's going to give you all the options for Philips Hue. So you can choose to activate a scene, you can choose to turn lights on and off, etc. So let's do activate a scene. So now in the shortcuts, you're going to see set lights in room/zone. So in the room/zone, you're going to tap on this and select one of your rooms. So let's go ahead and select office. And then you're going to see it says to scene. So now if you tap on scene, it's going to give you the options for the scenes, and let's choose filming. So now we have set lights in office to filming. So once we've got this set up, let's tap on the X icon. Now in the top left, you'll notice we have this scene all set up and ready to go. Now on the Shortcuts app, you can tap on this and it'll activate the scene for you right away. So let me just go into the Hue app and let's change some of these lights to a different color. So let's change Studio 1 to green, Studio this one, okay. And let's tap out of here. So I want to show you that when I run this shortcut by tapping on it, it's going to switch to that filming scene that I have specified. Now I also want to show you guys how to add this to your home screen. So tap on these three dots and go into the settings. Now right up top here, you have an option, add to home screen. And again, you're just gonna name it. Let's name it test and add. So now what's cool is that you have this shortcut available on your home screen. So anytime you hit this, it's going to run the shortcut and set your office or whatever you've got going on to that specific scene. This is nice for also just quickly turning the lights on or off. So earlier where I showed you guys that you can literally turn off all the lights by pressing that button at the top of the app, well, what you could do with this is create a shortcut to turn off all the lights or to turn on specific lights. So you can go in here, play around with this and tweak it to your liking. Alright guys, so last thing I want to show you is widgets. So I already showed you how to add a shortcut to the home screen. You can actually create a widget for a shortcut, have it on your home screen. But since we already have the shortcut there, I want to actually show you how to get it on your watch. So if you open up the Shortcuts app, tap on those three dots, go into settings, and then right under details where you see Apple Watch, make sure you have it turned on to show on Apple Watch. What this is going to do is if you go into Apple Watch and then you go into your shortcuts, you're going to see the shortcut is visible over there. So you can literally tap on it from your Apple Watch and run that same exact shortcut that you set up over here. So that is another cool way to have your Philips Hue lights do different things that you would want them to do right from your Apple Watch without even using your iPhone. Alright guys, so that is the Philips Hue app. Everything important in the app, and like I mentioned before, if you need additional help, if you need something set up, let me know down below or get my YouTube email from my homepage and I will do my best to help you out. With that said, if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, comment down below with any questions or concerns, and most importantly guys, take care of yourselves and I will see you all in the next video.